many benefits. We need to make this like a daily thing. It needs to be a lot more mainstream and people need to learn about it.
Powerful plant medicine. It's why we can, as humans, create a euphoric, blissful feeling from within us. That alone is just so beautiful and special. There is only one other plant or food that also contains tiny amounts of this molecule, and that is cacao. When we drink the cacao, we're getting more of that bliss chemical, that molecule. It just enhances that blissful feeling that we already start to connect with inside. It's just magic.
Hi EnvisionAirs, it's Nicole Nguyen here. Welcome to the EnvisionAir podcast. This is the podcast where we envision living our best lives by exploring everyday topics related to health, wealth, and community. On today's episode, I am super excited that we have a very special guest. Her name is Elissia Roberts, and she is going to be talking to us about cacao ceremonies. Ooh, I'm so excited. Yay, yeah. Elissia is the head of yoga at Digme Studios in London. She is a yoga teacher and she is a certified Cacoaista, which we are going to dive into. For those who don't know what that is, you are in for a treat today. And so as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about cacao ceremonies, which I experienced recently with the help of the beautiful Elissia. And she was actually acting as the facilitator of the cacao ceremony. And immediately I knew that I had to have her on the podcast because the experience left me feeling positive in such a beautiful state for several days, and I just was like, oh, Elissia, please come on and talk to the EnvisionAirs about this beautiful practice that we can start incorporating in our lives every day. So a very, very, very warm welcome to Elissia and onto the EnvisionAir podcast. And I know that you are actually getting ready to go lead a yoga retreat in Costa Brava. So thank you so much for taking the time to come, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on the podcast. It's beautiful. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
So happy.
Oh, thank you. Well, I feel the energy and it's, just so nice. So EnvisionAirs, we have something a little bit different this time around. Normally we like to start with the guest's origin story and kind of dive into their background before we actually get into the actual crux of the issues that we're talking about. But this time, because we have this amazing topic and I have also experienced it myself, I thought it would be really great to start with, and Elissia is going to help us with this, to start with essentially like a mini practice or a mini cacao ceremony practice that we can do every day. So I'm going to hand over to Elissia and I'm going to help her to lead us through something like basically a daily practice that we can start doing, and a great way to start this special episode. So go ahead, Elissia. Thank you.
Yay, thank you. All right. So we first of all need our ceremonial grade cacao.
Yes.
I'm just pouring mine now.
Amazing. I have mine.
So it's hot.
I have mine.
Yay, perfect. Okay, lovely. So what we do is we treat the cacao as a sacred plant medicine. In order to do that, we want to take our time when we not only drink it, but when we make it. So it's the whole process of putting all of your love, all of your wishes, all of your positive intentions into the cacao. And when you hold it in your cup, you just want to start to look into your cacao, bring all of that love, that energy into the cup. You might want to place it to your heart center. And just take a few longer breaths here as you connect. And you might start to notice that beautiful scent, that gorgeous smell, the heat from the mug, and then start to connect to your heart space. This cacao is a heart medicine. And I like to ask myself 2 questions every morning. What am I inviting in today? And what am I releasing and letting go of. So take a moment to allow those words to flow directly from the heart space. If I am sharing my ceremony with anybody else, I always like to share these intentions with each other.
Yeah.
So I can share mine first if you like.
Sure. Yes. 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 Yes.
Beautiful. So today I'm inviting in self-love, and I release anxiety.
Yes.
And in Native America, after you share, we say aho,
Aho.
which means thank you, which means I hear you, I see you, I feel you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
No
Thank you for
worries.
sharing that. That was so beautiful. Aho, Elissia.
Aho.
Okay, and I'll share mine then, given this. Yeah. So I am inviting into my life happiness, pure, unapologetic happiness. And I am releasing imposter syndrome and feeling unworthy. That's what I'm releasing.
Aho.
Oh,
Beautiful.
thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
See, this is so beautiful.
Yay.
I love it. Yay! Thank you so much. And then, do you end up normally just drinking the rest of the cacao in your daily
So
practice?
then, before we drink, we invite in the spirit of cacao, and that is
Right.
Lady Cacao. So she is the divine feminine energy that we bring into our bodies, into our hearts. And we ask her to open our hearts to help us to connect to our intentions, to help us to connect to our higher selves, our true essence. And by doing that, we release, we let go of anything that does not align with that energy, with that truth. And yeah, so once we've called in this beautiful spirit of cacao, we then consecrate, so we offer all of the benefits, the magical fruits of our ceremony up to the source energy, to Father Sky, and to all the sacred ones, to all the sentient beings in this universe, to Pachamama, Mother Earth, and all of her elements. And we raise our cups in gratitude, and we say Matiosh, 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 which means thank you in Native American.
Matiosh.
Aho. Beautiful. Aho. And then we drink. Yay.
Amazing. Yay. Oh, what a gorgeous practice. I love that. I mean, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm going to drink mine now. Amazing. Delicious.
What did you use in your cacao today?
So I actually used, this is the first time I'm using it. So for the listeners, I actually bought, after the ceremony, I went and bought the, is it Full Power? Is that what it's called, Elissia? The Full Power ceremonial grade cacao. And I just didn't feel it was the right time to open it, because I felt like maybe I wasn't in the right headspace for, like, the week after. And so I opened it for the first time today, and I'm so excited. And I used a little bit of water, and I used like as a base.
Nice.
And then I put a little bit of coconut milk. So I know you meant, I think it said like plant, you can use a little plant based milk. Did that, and then put the cacao in, and it's delicious. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Amazing.
What did you do?
Yay.
How did you do it?
So today I have used oat milk. So I always like to melt the cacao in the pan without any liquid first, because the cacao butter in it just melts really nicely. So I make sure it's super smooth, and then a little bit at a time, I pour in the milk that I'm using, and today it was oat milk.
Oh.
And just, yeah, a little bit at a time, keep stirring, really low heat. And then once I've poured all the liquid in, then I add a bit of Himalayan salt and a sweetener of choice. So today I use Manuka honey. And I also use some lion's mane powder, which is an incredible brand that I'm using called Enriched. And so I add a teaspoon of this powder in, and it's incredible. So I get some mushroom goodness as well.
I love it. And you can do that. You can make it your own, right? Like you don't
completely
have to
make it your own. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. I've been using a lot of fresh ginger as well lately, and rose water, which has been really nice for this transitional seasonal period. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you do like a 40 to 50 grams, or do you do the 15 to 20 grams because it's more of like a daily practice?
So a daily practice, you'd want to do between 10 and 20 grams. Everybody's different, so we're all sensitive in different ways. So 10 grams might be enough for someone, and whereas someone else might need 20 to feel it.
Right. Yes.
If you want to actually take it in ceremony, sort of as when you feel like you need a ceremony, then you would do between 30 and 50 grams.
Yeah, I did
50 being the max. Oh, nice. Full dose. Love that. Full power.
I was like, yeah, 50.
Yeah, love it.
But I think,
no, honestly, it's amazing.
But I think I've made mine a little too thick. That's why I have my spoon in here. But
I love it. I love it thick. That's great. It's like you're eating a dessert, some chocolate sauce.
That's genuinely what it looks like, but it's delicious. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you, Elissia. Thank you for running us through that. It's gorgeous. And I hope the EnvisionAirs listening try it at home, especially after we learn all about it today. So we are going to go through a deep dive of cacao ceremonies and all of that beautifulness. But I think would be nice to start with Elissia's background, just to know a bit about you, Elissia, and your childhood, where you grew up, and then how you got into cacao ceremonies and this beautiful spiritual practice.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Cornwall. I was born there. Spent a lot of time in nature, by the sea. And then when I remember it being, I was 13, but when my mum tells a story, she says 15. So we'll say 14. We'll meet in the middle. But one of my mum's best friends was a Iyengar teacher, yoga teacher. And so I used to be the youngest attendant of the yoga classes as a teenager. And I'd go with my mum and all of my mum's friends. And sometimes I'd bring one of my school friends. And I was just hooked. I didn't know why. I felt so good. I was like, just move around. But then at the end of practice, when you lie down in Shavasana, it was like complete bliss and stillness. And as a teenager, that is quite a rarity to kind of get out of that chatter in your mind. So I knew it was something special. And so then I just explored more and more classes. And eventually when I was 19, I was like, I have to go to Asia, and specifically Sri Lanka and India. So I did. And I went for 5 months with a friend from school. We went to Sri Lanka, India, Thailand, and Vietnam. But it was India and Sri Lanka that stole my heart. And I just really felt for the first time the spiritual side of yoga. And I went to Rishikesh in Himalayas, which is the birthplace of yoga. And I practiced in an ashram with lots of people who were doing their teacher trainings. And it was the first time I kind of felt that this is something I'd like to go into in life. Like, I think maybe one day I would like to be a yoga teacher. I still didn't believe I would be, or that I could be at that point. And I headed back after that trip, moved to London and studied film production at uni. So completely different. And I thought that was my path. And then I worked a little bit in the industry afterwards, and then realized that it wasn't my path, not right now. And that yoga is still something super important to me that I wanted to dive into more. So then I started working in Tri Yoga. and just worked in the cafe and just tried to do as much yoga as possible. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually lockdown happened, and that gave me the time, as it did for many, to pause, to sort of reassess. And I saved
Yeah.
up for my first yoga teacher training, which I did
Wow.
after we came out of lockdown, as I wanted to do it in person. And
Fantastic.
yeah, so then my whole life just changed from that moment. I knew that was my path. I was on it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't looked back. And that was it's coming up to 3 years ago now. I think it was 3 years ago.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
the feeling that you get? Like when you said that you were in India and Sri Lanka, and well, even when you were
Mm.
14 and you started doing the yoga, do you just feel this connection to your like higher self? Do you feel
Yeah,
peace? Like what is it?
it's like the feeling of letting go of all of that stuff that we carry around with us, all of that external stuff, the
Hmm.
thoughts, the ego, the worries, the doubts, just all of these things. It's like those moments of complete bliss where you're connecting to your actual true self, not your body, your mind, but that inner, that soul, yourself, your true
Right.
essence, and noticing that it's just all love, it's all beauty, it's all bliss within you, and we already have that. So it's just kind
Hmm.
of those moments of recognizing that energy and releasing everything else. Yeah,
Yeah. It's almost like I'm creating the space physically to allow yourself to get into that state almost.
exactly.
Unless,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah. So yoga, is the goal of yoga is to be able to sit still and meditate and reach enlightenment through
Hmm.
meditation. And so the
Hmm.
actual asana, the physical practice, is just a way of making that possible, keeping our bodies healthy and fit. And yeah, like you said, creating the space physically. And
Hmm.
so yeah, it's just the movement practice is one kind of limb, it's one part of yoga, what yoga is.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. See, I didn't
And
know that. I feel like I should have known that,
yeah.
but I did not know that. And
Well,
that's what you call asana. Is that or
asana. Yeah. Asana,
right?
yeah. So it's kind of in the Western world, we focus on the asana practice, the physical
Yeah.
practice, and so we
Hmm.
often lose the true meaning of what yoga, what it really is, and what we're trying to achieve, and how it's a lifestyle. So when people say, "Oh, I've been dipping in and out, or I haven't been practicing for a while," it's your lifestyle. You don't have to be practicing in the physical way every day, but it's how you live your life. It's your morals, your like meditation that you do, how you breathe. All these mindful practices. That is yoga. So, and
Wow.
cacao for me is another beautiful layer and way of connecting to that part of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and
Mm.
how did you get into the cacao ceremonies?
Yeah. So it was 2019. I went to a festival called Meadows in the Mountains. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's on top of a mountain in
No.
Bulgaria. It's amazing.
Oh, nice.
Should check it
Wow.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So that was the first cacao ceremony I think I went to, and with my partner at the time, and it was huge, and I didn't really understand what it was about. I was just like, oh, we get to drink cacao, and I already knew about cacao, and I loved it. I always put cacao powder and everything, and I love chocolate, and so I
Hmm.
just, but I think I'd probably already, had some mushrooms, or had I was already intoxicated with something, and so taking the cacao there, probably I couldn't really appreciate it for what it was, or feel it for what it was.
Mm.
So then after that, I didn't really properly get into it until probably 2 years ago, when I started going to more ecstatic dance events. And
Yeah.
at these dance events, they quite often use cacao as I don't want to say stimulant, but it is, it is a stimulant.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
energizes your heart, and gives you this beautiful energy. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a connector. So they use it so that we can all connect more deeply to ourselves and sort of have that boost of energy. And then we go into the dance, which is free movement. So that's when I really started understand why you use it, how it made me feel, and how powerful it was. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
So that's great. So that was just a couple of years ago. And then how
a
did
couple
you
of years ago.
Yeah, and then how did you become an actual certified Cacoaista?
Yeah, so I was in Brazil earlier this year, and I was hoping to find a training there. I knew I wanted to connect more with cacao. I wanted to learn more about it.
Mm-hmm.
I looked and looked and looked for ages online for trainings, and they were all, well, most of them were online trainings. And I just thought that it wasn't the way, to learn about a
Yeah.
plant medicine through a screen. So I left it and I went to Brazil and I visited some cacao farms and learned about it that way. And I had a one-to-one with a beautiful woman who grows cacao. It runs in her family, and she has her own ceremonial grade cacao brand. She shared a beautiful ceremony with me. And then after that, I knew I had to do the training. So I kept my eyes open. I came back to London and I messaged this guy that I found online called Liam Brown. At this point, I knew
Mm-hmm.
nothing about him, just that he had lots going on his website, so many things. So I was like, wow, he looks great. Let's see what he's about. And I messaged him and said, do you have any upcoming cacao ceremonies? Cacao facilitator trainings. I can't seem to
Mm-hmm.
find any. And he was like, yeah, I've got one in 2 weeks. There's still a spot. Do you want to come? I was like, oh,
Wow.
okay. So then I quickly got all my classes covered and
Yeah.
got the money together somehow.
Yes.
And
Yeah, the
then just
stars
did it.
aligned.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
stars aligned. So it's with a guy called
Wow.
Liam Brown. We did it, where was it? It was, yeah, it was in the countryside, kind of about an hour and a half away from London. And
Mm-hmm.
I was with, I think there was 8 other people on the training, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just beautiful.
Oh.
It's like nothing I've ever experienced before in a training. And
Wow.
I really felt more again of that spiritual, energetic connection. Whereas
Yeah.
in yoga trainings before, I haven't felt it to that extent before. There was something really powerful, and I think it was the people that I did the training with and the facilitators, Liam and his partner Paulina. But
Mm-hmm.
it's also the fact that we're using cacao, the plant medicine, and it kind of brings all of that to the surface. It yeah
Wow.
allows you to really to feel and to see your own wisdom, your own magic. So it was a
Yeah.
very magical training. It was 1 week intensive.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, and then since then I've been offering one-to-one cacao ceremonies and starting sort of smaller group ceremonies by myself, and yeah,
Wow.
hoping to
Well,
keep growing.
yeah, well, I'm so glad. I mean, just by chance, a friend of mine had sent the link, and I was like, yeah, this sounds so interesting. I need to do this. And
Mhm.
I'm so glad I did. And I did it with you because honestly,
Yeah.
for me, I still think it changed my life because it's something that I would want to do and bring into my practice daily, if not daily, then at least kind of that, once in a while, either one to one
Hmm.
or, in a small group setting. It was so beautiful. So thank you for what
Yeah.
you did, really.
No, thank you for joining. Yeah, it's a perfect sort of reset and
It's a reset,
yeah, release.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, let's dive. We've kind of touched on what it is, but I'd love to know a bit more. I know you mentioned when we were doing the ceremony, you mentioned a little bit of the history of it and kind of what it was,
Hmm.
how it started. So, do you want to tell listeners a little bit about cacao ceremonies and what they are and
Yeah.
how they started? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, powerful plant medicine that's been around for thousands of years from Central and South America. And I think they're called the Olmecs, and they were like a Mesoamerican civilization based around the Gulf of Mexico. And they gave us the first records of ceremonial grade cacao. But this was like 2000 BC.
Wow.
So it was really the Aztecs and the Mayans, so sort of
Mm.
more Mexican territory that gifted us with the rich history of using cacao in ceremony.
Mm.
These ancient cultures really brought to life the magic of the cacao bean. and it was considered to be a divine and magical gift from the gods. It was the elixir of life, a sacred medicine, ritual aid, a potent aphrodisiac as well, a source of economical exchange, and it provided political and social leverage, as well as being an indicator of spiritual status then as well. Yeah, it's always been really respected, and obviously now we use cacao bean and we create it into chocolate and cacao powder and things like that, and we get some benefits from the cacao fruit, but we lose a lot of the benefits when the cacao is heated over a certain temperature, so when it's gone through more of a process. So we don't feel it in the same way that we do when we have it in its rawest, purest form, which is ceremonial grade style.
Yeah. And so when you're heating it up yourself, should you be mindful of doing it on like a lower setting, just based on what you
Okay. So you'd never want the cacao to boil when you heat it up. So you always want to keep it very low.
Yeah.
You can make it hot. You just, don't want it to boil at all.
Okay.
So sometimes a fine line.
And so, and getting back to the, go ahead, Elissia.
No, I was just going to say, the other thing I like to do is, after I've heated it, just to keep it warm, I always keep it in the pan with the lid on, and I take the pan wherever I'm going to drink the cacao in my mug, and then when I'm ready to drink it, I pour it straight from the pan into the mug, and that way it stays hotter for longer.
Nice.
And then just another tip.
I feel like I need to get one of those, like the velvetizers, like the Hotel Chocolat or something. I need like one of those fancy machines.
Or you could get the Mexican, they have the big wooden cacao spoons, so it's a bit more old style. It uses, all your arm muscles, but it has all these kind of like most like pincers to really like get into it, and then you can bash it a bit more and feel really authentic when you make it.
I love it. I'm gonna have to look into that. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
So just getting back to what you were saying about when it was used, in around 2000 BC, I feel like I remember, maybe you mentioned this, or maybe I just read about it, but did people used to come together as a community and essentially do almost the same small mini practice as we did this morning? Like they would come as a community.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely would have been communities, and originally it was just kind of people that had money to begin with. It was actually, a bit of a higher status. If you can afford it, you would have it in your practice regularly. But then, this is when money started to come into it. Before that, it was obviously just everyone and anyone that could grow it and get hold of it. But and then eventually everyone started to use it, so it became accessible for everyone. And it was used, and it still is used, in ayahuasca ceremonies. They would drink it before going into the ayahuasca, and they would say that the cacao is the heart medicine and ayahuasca is medicine for the mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love it.
Plant
medicines.
Yeah.
Who knew? Chocolate, plant medicine. You told me that, and I was like, oh my God, yes.
I know.
I love it.
Magical hot chocolate.
Exactly. Minus all the sugar, like the refined sugars, I'm sure.
Exactly. This is it.
And so what are the physical and the mental benefits of the cacao ceremony? I experienced obviously some of that, but if you can maybe touch on that as well, that would be super helpful.
Yeah. So it's actually one of the highest sources of antioxidants we can get. So it's actually higher than blueberries, higher than red wine. Super good for your skin. And it's also really high in magnesium and manganese. And this is why it can feel quite relaxing for the nervous system, as opposed for coffee, which stimulates the nervous system.
Right.
So although we get this buzz, which actually comes from the heart, the rest of our body can feel quite relaxed when we drink cacao. So some people actually
Yeah.
choose to drink it, a little bit of it, probably less than 15 grams before bed. They actually find that sometimes it can help them sleep,
Oh.
which is interesting. Yeah, because I do prefer to do it in the morning, but I mean tonight I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually going to an ecstatic dance event, and I'll be drinking more cacao then. Hence why I didn't do a full dose today this morning. Um, yes, so other
Yeah,
benefits. So
no,
it
that's,
increases
yeah.
increases the neurotransmitter activity in your brain.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of helps you with clarity of mind, focus. So I don't know about you, but I always feel quite focused and very alert after I take a high dose
Yeah.
of cacao. And actually,
Yes.
I notice like the beauty and everything so much more. So like everything just looks a bit crisper and clearer and more colorful. It kind of like
Yeah.
heightens everything a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really feel that one. Yeah, really
Well,
strongly.
I feel like I'm vibrating from my heart center right now. I
Yep,
genuinely
yep,
do. I feel it. And
yep.
I think it's really special. And I remember when we had it together at the ceremony, I also felt immediately, without you saying it was a heart, like a
Mm,
heart medicine. I felt it when I was drinking it. It was like warming up my cockles of my heart. And
yes,
it was really
yes.
nice. So yeah,
So it's
love it.
yeah, chemically it's a chemical called theobroma, which the Mayans call food of the gods. And this chemical is a heart stimulant, so it does actually scientifically stimulate our heart. So this is why we feel that connection instantly to our heart. But this, some people might like feel a little bit worried about that, but actually it strengthens and builds heart health as well. So
Wow.
it's a vasodilator, so it's great for anyone suffering from high blood pressure, and yeah, it lowers it. So it's a really healthy heart stimulant.
Wow.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah,
who knew? People, this is
yeah.
amazing. Like we should all be buying like ceremonial grade cacao and having it. I love it.
Yes, we should. So again, it's also sorry, it's just there's so many benefits.
I know, tell me
So
more. Tell us
yeah,
more.
so it also detoxifies the liver and the kidneys,
Oh.
and just generally cleanses and purifies the body. So it can make you, if you have a high dose, you might need to go to the bathroom quite soon after.
Wow.
It kind of just gets rid of everything, cleanses, releases. And it's
Wow.
also a natural antidepressant. So it releases serotonin, dopamine, endorphins. So it's a natural mood lifter,
Wow.
which gives us this euphoric, blissful feeling. But also, this is probably my favorite fact.
Tell me, yes.
Yeah, there's a little chemical inside of us called anandamide, and it's a molecule, and it's this bliss molecule. So essentially, it's why we can, as humans, create a euphoric, blissful feeling from within us, which that alone is just so beautiful and special.
Yes.
And there is only one other plant or food that also contains tiny amounts of this molecule, and that is cacao. So it's
Wow.
literally the only other plant. So yeah, we already have that inside of us. Then when we drink the cacao, see we're getting more of that bliss chemical, that molecule. So it just enhances that blissful feeling that we already start to connect with inside. So it's
Wow. Oh
just
my
magic.
gosh.
Yeah.
That is. And what do you know the name of the molecule? Or is it just called the
Yes,
bliss
it,
molecule?
it's called anandamide.
Anandamide. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up. This
Anandamide.
is incredible.
And
Wow.
Ananda means bliss in Sanskrit as well, which is really
What?
cool. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I mean, are there
No
any more
worries.
benefits? I mean, there's so many already, but is there
So much.
any?
Um, yeah, no, that's those are kind of there's actually also so it's this is a really hard one to pronounce, but there's another chemical called phenylethylamine.
Okay.
Phenylethylamine, yeah.
Yes.
This is the love chemical. So it's the same adrenal related chemical activated in the mind, in the brain, and released in the body when we fall in love. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when we drink the cacao, this chemical also gets released that tells us we're in love, and it's kind of that feeling of often self-love. We feel it from within. But then if we're doing a ceremony with other people, it can really help us to connect with others and feel that beautiful love with whoever we're sharing the ceremony with.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Oh,
really beautiful.
incredible. So beautiful
Yeah.
and so many benefits. I feel like everyone now
Yes.
has to, we need to make this like a daily thing. It needs to be a lot more mainstream and people need to learn about it
Yeah.
because there's so many benefits.
100%. Liam Brown is on the mission to have cacao, ceremonial grade cacao, in all coffee shops. We should be drinking cacao, not coffee. He's like on that. So yeah, watch this
fantastic.
space.
Yeah, watch the space. And also I feel like
Yeah.
Elissia is going to be doing this too. I feel like you're going to be,
Yes.
making a way
Spreading,
as well.
spreading the love. Yeah, spreading the cacao
100%.
love always.
Love it. Oh, thank you so much, Elissia. Now, before we're reaching kind of towards the end of our session, but we have the EnvisionAir questionnaire, which is a regular feature of the podcast, and I'd love for you to participate in that. So we ask our guests 3 questions, looking towards their past, present, and future. So, if we can start, I'd love to run you through those questions. So, looking towards your past, amazing. Looking towards your past, if you could give your 15-year-old self any advice, what would it be and why?
Good question. Yeah, going back to that 15-year-old in Shavasana.
Yes.
So I would say, don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Do you stay true to you and allow whatever that is, whatever you truly are, to just grow and blossom and go for that. don't sort of worry about what others think.
Yeah.
Because at 15, anything anyone says, you're so influenced and you take everything to heart, and it really can affect you mentally. And I definitely went down some very bendy, windy roads, and it just
Same.
I wish I I think we all do, don't we? And
we all do,
but we all have that. Go. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, especially as young women, I think, young women have young men too, but young women, I think that sense of like finding yourself and your sexuality and your identity and all of it's, especially at that age, it's such a tender age. And I think that advice is so beautiful that you would have give your 15-year-old self.
Yeah. And also I'd tell her to start drinking ceremonial grade cacao, of course.
Of course, and help her connect with her heart even more so.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Also.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, looking towards your present, if there's any advice you could seek from anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Wow. It's another great question. There's just so many people. I feel really lucky at the moment. So I just feel like this year I've been exposed to so many wise, powerful, beautiful people, and I just keep learning so much. So there's just so many people like floating around in my head right now. But
it's okay. It can be it could be someone you admire. It could be someone who you just would like to like have a cacao, a drink over cacao.
I was just thinking actually. So the Liam Brown on his journey, which I have to talk to you about another time, but definitely. Or you're going to have to get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
But so he went to Guatemala, and that's where he started learning about cacao, and he met someone called Keith, who's lived in Guatemala for lots and lots and lots of years, and he's known there as the chocolate shaman. That he knows everything about cacao, and he would take people to his porch and give them this like magical experience. And
Wow.
yeah, he's quite old now, I think. So it would be really cool, I think, to be able to meet him and chat to him, learn from him as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I feel like is very possible, right? Like you could potentially, if you made your way to Guatemala. Yeah, that's awesome.
I would love to. Yeah, definitely.
Well, we're putting that into the universe, so
Yes,
I feel like
putting
it might happen. Yeah, totally. Okay, and then looking towards your future, what's one goal that you would like to achieve in the next 5 years that you want to share with us?
Okay. So I'm actually about to go on a 300-hour teacher training in Kundalini, which is a new type of yoga for me, really. I mean, I've been practicing lots of different types, and this is a way of yoga that I haven't dived into yet in terms of studying. I'm really excited to go and learn and add that to my sort of offering and how I can let it resonate with me. From all of that, plus the other trainings along the way, and the more I work with Cacao, I want to be running week-long retreats in places such as Central and South America, Asia, so much further afield. And
Beautiful.
I want to be using lots of different ways of practicing and understanding yoga, not just through one way, vinyasa, like of just the movement, but through all the other limbs of yoga, and practicing different styles of the asana practice, different forms of meditation. And I want to be using cacao as the plant medicine, so lots of ceremony, lots of music, mantra. So yeah, those are my visions. And I want the retreats to be not just the yoga experience, but also experiencing another country together as a community and exploring and just bringing all the things that I love all together with people and doing those regularly. That's my goal. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. And I can't wait to go on one of your retreats. It's so gorgeous.
Have you.
100%. Oh, thank you so much. Elissia, it's been so beautiful to have you on. Like your energy, I feel like I'm in a different state, and I hope, the EnvisionAirs start exploring this. And please do let us know how they can reach out to you if they want to ask you specific questions, and to learn more about your practice, what you're offering, one-to-ones. Please do let us know.
Amazing. So the best way right now is to follow me on my Instagram, which is Elissia, ELISSIA Roberts Yoga. And all my updates are on there currently. I've got a retreat actually, but it's next week. Might be a little bit last minute for some of you.
Hey.
But I'm flying out tomorrow for that. So that's in Costa Brava in Spain. But retreats and one-to-ones and cacao ceremonies. You can find all of those updates, as well as my yoga classes in London, all on my Instagram.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much again. Mwah. Sending you lots of love today. Really, just
thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Like my heart is so full.
All the love.
Thank you.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you, gorgeous.
You too. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit subscribe and check out this video here.